My boyfriend, a 24-year-old man, and I, a 22-year-old woman, are medical school classmates. We had been together for 2 years and had an amazing connection in the beginning, but due to a few mistakes and incompatibility issues, things are not seeming to work out. He used to be a super kind, sweet, and generous guy, and still is. But now, he has started to have sudden bouts of anger regarding everything I do and has ended things between us multiple times because of them. The most recent one was about a week ago, but I begged him to stay because I realized that I had made a few mistakes in the relationship and would like to work on them. He calmed down for a few days, but then came the main reason for his anger spells and breakup. Basically, our colleagues decided to do research together, and since we are a part of the group, we were added. It involves completing the set tasks within a certain time limit, and whoever does so gets a better chance at a higher authorship. I was calming him down regarding a matter he was distressed about, and then the group call to discuss the research happened. He asked me to join, but he wasn't going to because he was tired. I told him we would join together, or else I wouldn't either. He kept asking me to join, so I did, but I also joined from another device with his name so his absence wouldn't get marked and his ranking wouldn't drop. He got extremely upset and said that the research mattered to me more than the distressing situation he was in and that I couldn't skip it to comfort him. The thing is that I had been comforting him for the past 2 hours, and by the end of it, he really was getting better, so I joined the meeting. He got so angry about this that he blocked me from WhatsApp and Instagram despite me calling him multiple times. He unblocked me the following morning, and the same thing happened that night too, but he had informed me prior that I didn't need to join the meeting on his behalf. I joined again, but was constantly in an argument with him, so I couldn't listen to anything. Anyway, he joined to see if I had joined, even if he hadn't, got angry, and repeated the same blocking cycle. He also said that I had prompted him to leave the research because of my behavior, and he exited the group. He came back the next day, though, and then got angry about me doing my assigned work on the shared Google Sheet, which he could also view. He called me and got extremely angry again about the research mattering more to me than him, and used foul language. He said that I wanted to be ranked higher, so I was doing my work while he couldn't because he was so distressed, and that he would fail at everything and a bunch of other things. He also said that he couldn't understand how someone going through a breakup could do these things. It has been 2 days since this shared project, and he has been calling me every day, accusing me of the same stuff again and again. I'm really reaching my limit. I just want to leave this project just so I won't be accused again and again for doing work. I am doubting myself too, wondering why I am able to do work after things have ended between us, and if I am a bad person for focusing on work despite my life going downhill, and if what we had didn't matter to me as much just because I am able to find distraction in work. Apart from that, I have cried multiple times and am feeling extremely bad and regretful for my mistakes and what could have been. What should I do? Should I leave the project so that his constant nagging can stop? Even if I do leave it, I know he will feel guilty and ask me to join again. Or should I keep on working and present myself as the bad guy who doesn't care about anything else? But when I work, that frustrates him too. I seriously don't know what to do. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. You're in a very tough situation. His reactions seem disproportionate, and his repeated blocking and accusations are unhealthy. Prioritize your well-being and consider seeking support from a counselor or therapist to navigate these feelings. Your focus on work doesn't make you a bad person. It's a healthy coping mechanism. Comment 2. Unfortunately, I cannot afford therapy right now, but thank you for letting me know that putting my energy into work isn't necessarily bad. I seem to get avoidant at times and hyper-focus on work to distract from everyday problems, but I've been trying to get more in touch with my emotions because I know the former is unhealthy. Now, for the update. A month has passed since everything went crazy with my boyfriend over the whole group project mess. I decided to just stick with the project because honestly, I was tired of dealing with his drama. I figured it was better to stay away from any more issues, So fast forward to a few weeks later, I was in the library on a Saturday, studying like a good student. My boyfriend was there too, but he seemed totally checked out and distracted. Like, I was trying to talk to him about our project, and he was just staring into space. And then, out of nowhere, he accused me of caring more about my grades than our relationship. I'm sorry, what? I tried to reassure him that I was balancing both, but he wasn't having it. He just packed up his stuff and stormed out of the library, leaving me sitting there, confused and frustrated. Like, can I not even study in peace? A few days after that, he showed up at my apartment unannounced. He brought takeout, trying to act all normal, but you could feel the tension. During dinner, he casually mentioned this party his friends were throwing that weekend. I asked if he wanted me to go with him, and he just shrugged it off like it was nothing. That's when I knew something was definitely up, so I decided to dig a little deeper. After dinner, I saw him texting someone on his phone, and when I walked in, he quickly hid the screen like I was going to steal his phone or something. I asked about the texts, and he claimed it was nothing important. Yeah, right. At that moment, I felt like my trust in him was slowly fading away, and I needed to confront him. He had been so distant and preoccupied for weeks, it was getting ridiculous. So, then came my cousin's birthday dinner. I overheard my boyfriend talking to my cousin about the party he was going to. And here's the kicker. He mentioned inviting this girl named Sarah, who he referred to as fun. My cousin laughed and teased him about it, and I could just see the blood drain from his face. After dinner, I pulled my cousin aside and asked about this Sarah girl. She said Sarah was new to their program and was known for being lively and outgoing. My boyfriend's behavior was starting to feel pretty suspicious, and I decided it was time to confront him. I called him later that night, demanding to know what was up with this Sarah girl. He got all defensive, saying she was just a friend and I had nothing to worry about. Yeah, right. The next day, I decided to do a little digging on Sarah. I found her social media, and let me tell you, her posts about parties and outings were constant. It was driving me nuts. My boyfriend mentioned the party again and asked if I would join him. I said yes, but honestly, I was planning to keep a close eye on him that night. When the party night came, the atmosphere was electric, filled with laughter and music. My boyfriend seemed to be living his best life, laughing and joking with everyone. I spotted Sarah across the room, wearing this bright dress and just chatting it up like she owned the place. I couldn't just sit there and not say anything, so I decided to confront him in the moment. But as I approached, I overheard him saying, "I really like having you around." I froze, watching them interact like a total creep. Instead of confronting them, I just slipped outside for some air. I ended up running into a group of friends who were laughing and having a good time, so I decided to join them. At some point, I went back inside and caught my boyfriend looking for me. He approached me with this big smile, but I felt different. I felt empowered. I told him I needed space and decided to leave the party early. He looked shocked but didn't follow me as I headed home. Once I was home, I sent him a text saying I couldn't do this anymore. A few days passed with no contact from him. Eventually, he texted me, but I just ignored him and focused on myself. Things are still complicated, though. My boyfriend still sends me texts, but I'm not responding. It's been a mix of him being apologetic, begging for another chance, and even getting angry sometimes. I've really been focusing on myself and my studies, and I've noticed I'm a lot happier without the stress he brought into my life. I'll be honest, it's a bit of a roller coaster because I still have feelings for him, but I know I need to prioritize what makes me happy. If something big happens, I'll make sure to post an update. Edit. I understand there are mixed reactions to what I did at the party. I want to clarify that I didn't intend to spy, but I felt it was necessary. Many have asked about my boyfriend's behavior since our breakup. He continues to message me, showing varied emotions, which has been overwhelming at times. Am I the idiot for calling out my partner for being a lazy parent and a terrible communicator? I, a 25-year-old female, have been with my partner, a 24-year-old male, for 3 years. We have 2 kids together, yes, back-to-back babies. No, they were not planned. We moved in together shortly after finding out. At this point, I'm frustrated with his behavior. I feel like I can deal with and forgive a lot, but when it comes to our kids, I am very protective. Please tell me if I'm expecting too much or if I need to compromise because he makes it seem like I ask for the moon, stars, and the galaxy when I feel like I'm just asking for fairness. For more context, I'm a stay-at-home mom, and he works to provide for us. His job also isn't a physical job, he has an office desk job. He also isn't a CEO or holds any top position. Here are a few instances that have happened recently that have me feeling confused. Please tell me if I'm not being understanding or how I should react. 1. I asked him if he could please grab our oldest child when they woke up. He went, took them, changed their diaper, and then let them walk around in our room. Then he got back into bed and went to sleep, as if our child isn't hungry and needs interaction. So that leaves me to have to get up anyway to get our child breakfast. I asked him to do this because I've been having a lot of pain due to a procedure gone wrong, which he is aware of. Just to add, I get up with our kids every single day, every weekend. He sleeps in until whatever time he wants, literally can be even until like 3 p.m. too. I've asked him to please text me whenever he plans to stay later at work. Not to ask me, but just give me a heads up so I know and can plan when to start dinner, when to eat, or just if I have to do the night routine on my own. I don't mind that. I would just like to be aware of it instead of waiting around. He says that's too much work. To add, during all of this, my first dog that I had staying with a family friend died. He was so young. Also, I'm only a few months postpartum, so still adjusting, but I won't even use that as an excuse. 3. He had unfollowed a girl on Instagram who had disrespected me and our relationship many times. She was just straight up mean to me and would talk badly about me to others. She wanted my fiancé. He unfollowed her because I felt uncomfortable with him interacting with her. That was probably about a year and a half ago. Just this week, I saw that he had followed her again. When I asked him about it, he said that his friend wanted him to see something on her profile. And when I asked why his friend couldn't screenshot it and send it, he replied that he could do whatever he wanted to. No apology, no further explanation, nothing. He then spent the majority of the day not speaking to me, and when I tried to brush it off and make normal conversation, he was acting sad, like I had done something wrong. 4. He typically gets in a bad mood whenever I say no to any intimacy. Again, I'm a few months postpartum and had a procedure gone wrong that left me in a lot of pain. He tries to suggest other things, but I'm in pain, dealing with 2 kids basically on my own for the majority of the time, and have no drive at this point, so I typically deny. He lashes out with comments saying, "I'm just going to cheat, I have no choice," or "I'm just going to start watching porn again." He later apologizes for it, saying he said those things in frustration in the moment. There's more, of course. Like the fact that when he does come home late from work, he sometimes won't even talk to me or interact with our kids, just showers and goes to bed and avoids us. He later then gets upset that I never greeted him or approached him. It's somehow always my fault. But please, am I just viewing things in the wrong light? I try to understand him and communicate everything, but he'll get super quiet and not communicate his intentions, or he'll let out an exaggerated sigh and complain apologetically. He says I nag, whine, and complain too much. All of that. And he still tells me that he isn't going to leave me and that he's stuck with me and believes that I take advantage of him because of that. I'm genuinely so tired. Our youngest doesn't sleep through the night yet, so I'm constantly up with them and don't sleep much anymore. I rarely speak with attitude or in any manner that isn't calm because I know tone is huge when communicating. I'm just exhausted. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. I feel a lot of bad energy and distance in your relationship. As you're giving these examples, do you think this relationship is going to last? Are there moments of joy and fun to keep it worthwhile? It all sounds sad and cold, to be honest. Comment 2. I tried getting an intrauterine device, and it ended up puncturing my uterus, which is the procedure that went wrong. I was on birth control pills, but clearly something went wrong. But trust me, I'm doing everything I can to not have another child. Now, for the update. A couple of weeks have passed since the whole Instagram mess. Things have been, well, not much better to Baha. He missed our son's first school play because he stayed late at work. I know life happens, but come on, this was his first play and he had known for weeks when it was. Our kids were super excited to see him there. They kept asking where he was and why didn't he come. I felt his absence a lot, like they were asking me and I had no answer. I posted pics of the play on social media, tagging him hoping he'd see them. He reacted hours later with a thumbs up emoji. Like, really? That's all you can say? During dinner, I brought up our son's performance and he changed the subject to sports. He got all defensive, saying he had to work hard to provide for us. I get that he works hard, but why does that mean he gets a free pass on parenting? A week later, we went to a family birthday party for my niece. The atmosphere was tense as we sat at a table with family, including his parents. His mom asked about our kids' sleeping habits, and he joked about how tired he was from not getting enough sleep. Meanwhile, our youngest is still waking up multiple times a night. After the party, his parents invited us over for dinner to catch up. At dinner, his dad mentioned a recent promotion at work, implying that success was key. My husband brought up a recent trip he took with friends, which I hadn't even known about. So much for keeping me in the loop, right? Later that week, he came home late again, this time with takeout. I asked him about it and he snapped back that it was just food and that he was busy. During a family outing to the zoo, the kids were excited to be there, but he spent most of the time on his phone. I pointed out that the kids wanted his attention, and he argued that he was just keeping up with work. It's like he thinks being on his phone is the same as being present. The tension peaked when he made a joke about not being able to handle the kids. I was so over it. We left the zoo early, and the drive home was silent, except for the kids asking questions. He finally spoke up, saying he felt unappreciated for working hard. I get that he works hard, but does he think I don't? We both work hard, it's just a different kind of work. He suggested we schedule a date night to reconnect. I was skeptical, to say the least. We agreed to try, but scheduling became another point of contention with work and kid activities. It always is, isn't it? During a rare date night, we ended up arguing over small things instead of reconnecting. He mentioned wanting to plan a family vacation to reconnect as a family. I just don't know what to do anymore. Edit. We had a talk after the update, and he agreed to lower his work hours, which helped a lot with our issues. Am I the idiot for feeling invisible and hurt after my sister decided to ignore me at a family dinner? My sister, 19 years old, texted me almost out of the blue, "You're a very selfish person, and I don't want a relationship with you anymore." My sister and I are pretty close in age. We've always gotten along well, but also had arguments and fights like most siblings do. I've always been more introverted, while my sister is the extroverted, flirty type. She's tall and pretty, so guys are usually into her. It's not a bad thing, but I just see relationships differently. I never wanted to date in high school and only started dating last year when I met my boyfriend. My sister secretly dated a guy in high school, and it turned out to be a bad relationship. He cheated on her, and even after a year, he still tries to contact her and get his friends to message her. She had to change her number because he kept bothering her and even gave her number to his friends. Fast forward to this summer, she was in another state working at a camp, and we didn't see each other at all. I noticed she changed her Instagram username, so I texted her about it since I was curious. Big mistake. She got upset because I tried to give her logical advice, since her reason was that she didn't want her ex spamming her through his friends. When I asked if her profile was public, she got mad at me for being too logical. After that, she didn't text me for a while. Then, a week later, she called me, super excited, asking for advice on what color to dye her hair. I went on a trip overseas with my aunt and uncle a week later, and my flight got delayed. The day before I got back, my dad texted me saying my sister would pick me up. She also texted saying she'd hang out with friends after picking me up, which would take a couple of hours. There's some history with the driving. She once drove me and my brother while angry and almost got us into an accident, so I decided I didn't want to ride with her anymore, especially for a 3-hour drive. I reminded my dad, but he said unless I found someone else, she'd have to pick me up. I texted my sister, thanking her, but saying I'd prefer to get home earlier, given my long flights and layover, and that I'd ask a friend instead. While I was texting my parents about it, my sister replied, saying it was weird that I didn't want lunch. I was going to explain that my body was off from the time zone difference, but then both my parents told me to stop texting her because it wasn't helping. I assumed then that they were talking to her about me. About an hour later, my sister texted me saying she didn't want a relationship with me anymore. This semester, she's going to the very small college that I've been attending for 3 years. Another story, and I've seen her a few times, but she hasn't spoken to me, and I've been giving her space to respect her boundaries. She talks to my friends, said hi to my boyfriend, and asked about me, but she hasn't talked to me directly. Then today, she passed me in the hallway and said, "Hi." I was surprised, and I didn't know what to do, so I didn't say anything back. I'm not sure what to do. To sum up, my sister, 19 years old, and I, 21 years old, have had a good relationship with some typical sibling arguments. I'm more introverted, while she's extroverted and flirty. This summer, she texted me saying she didn't want a relationship with me anymore. Now, we're at the same small college, and she recently said hi to me in the hallway, but I was so surprised I didn't respond. Now I'm unsure how to handle the situation. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Okay, so she sounds a little mentally unstable. Think of her as a child whose opinion does not matter, but whose feelings do. When she is nice, be nice. When she is snotty or unsafe, be gone. Now, for the update. I'm back with an update on the whole sibling situation. It's been about a week since the last post, and I guess things have changed again, one way or another. My parents decided to have a family dinner at their place this weekend. They invited me, my sister Olivia, Fanhawk, and my older brother Jake, along with his wife Rachel. Oh yeah, Jake and Rachel are expecting their first kid, so everyone is pretty excited about that, especially my parents. I was kinda unsure if Olivia would show up because, things have been pretty awkward between us. But I guess I was just hoping for the best. I don't know. So, the day of the dinner, I got there first and helped my parents set up the table. My dad was in a really good mood, cracking jokes about the upcoming baby and just being his goofy self. Mom was busy in the kitchen, probably trying to make everything perfect as usual. Rachel showed up next, bringing a homemade cake. I mean, how cute is that? But I noticed she seemed a bit nervous about Olivia's arrival. She even asked me if I thought Olivia would come. I didn't know what to say, honestly. Just as we finished setting everything up, Olivia walked in. She greeted everyone politely, but of course, she didn't acknowledge me. Typical. Dinner started, and my mom asked everyone about their week. Olivia shared a story about her classes, and I tried to join in the conversation, but she completely shut me down. Like, wow, okay. My brother Jake jumped in to talk about baby names, which got everyone excited, including Olivia. I tried to make a joke about picking some silly names, but Olivia shot me a look that made it clear I should just stay quiet. So I did. At one point, my dad asked Olivia if she was seeing anyone new, and she kind of fumbled over her words. I don't know if it's because she's seeing someone and doesn't want to talk about it, or if she's just single and awkward about it. Who knows? After dinner, we moved to the living room for dessert, and Rachel suggested we play a game. Olivia hesitated, but eventually agreed to join in, keeping her distance from me the whole time. During the game, she seemed to relax a little, actually laughing at Jake's antics, which was nice to see. I took a chance and tried to include her in a joke, but she rolled her eyes and ignored me again. Classic Olivia. As the night went on, it was clear Olivia was just more engaged with everyone else, and that kind of stung, I wanted to be part of her life too. After the game, Rachel suggested taking a family photo to remember the evening. I stood next to Olivia, hoping for even a moment of connection, but nope, she shifted away from me. The photo was taken, and in it, Olivia's smile looked forced. Like you could tell she was just trying to get through the night. Afterward, Olivia announced she had to leave early, saying she had an early class tomorrow. My mom insisted on packing some leftovers for her, and I offered to help. As I handed her the bag, I tried to make eye contact, but she avoided it like crazy. Before she left, she thanked my parents and gave Jake and Rachel hugs. She walked out without saying goodbye to me. It's like I'm invisible. After she left, Jake asked me if I thought things would get better between us. I just shrugged, not wanting to get into it at that moment. My parents tried to discuss the situation, but I told them I didn't want to talk about it, not right now. So the next day I decided to send Olivia a message, suggesting we grab coffee and talk. I didn't know how she'd react, but surprisingly, she replied pretty quickly, agreeing to meet up. We met at a local cafe. When I arrived, she was already there, looking a bit nervous. We talked about school and how things have been. It was a pretty casual conversation, nothing too deep. She seemed a bit reluctant to open up, but I get it. It's a process. I didn't push her to share more about why she's been avoiding me or what's been going on in her life. But yeah, that was pretty much it. We're still figuring it out, one coffee date at a time. I just hope we can get back to being siblings again, or at least something close to it. Edit. We have agreed to meet for coffee every 2 weeks. It's helping us reconnect and slowly rebuild our sibling relationship. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.